Now, the greatest radio shows of all time.
Suspense.
The Shadow Node.
Washington calling David Harding, counter-spy.
Classic radio theater.
The Great Gildersleeve.
Fibber McGee and Molly.
Dragnet. Gunsmoke.
The Lone Ranger.
Now, step back into our time machine with your host, Wyatt Cox.
Good evening, friends of the Inner Sanctum.
Get this and get it straight. Crime is a sucker's road, and those who travel it wind up in the gut of the prison of the grave. There's no other end, but they never learn.
From the pen of Raymond Chandler, outstanding author of crime fiction, comes his most famous character in The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Now, with Gerald Mohr, starred as Philip Marlowe, we bring you tonight's exciting story, The Bedside Manners.
Get your hat and hit the street.
Piper, get your paper. Hi, Mr. Marlowe.
Hi, Tommy.
Paper tonight?
Okay, kid. Here you are.
Thanks. Take it easy now.
Sure.
Hey, Mr. Marlowe, your change. Just a minute. Mr. Marlowe, watch it, then call it out. Holy cats, call an ambulance. Somebody hang on, Mr. Marlowe. Don't try to move. You're going to be okay. Just take it easy.
Now, that's the way it happened. 2 weeks ago. When they scraped me up off the pavement, I felt like everything must have been broken. But finally, the doctor boiled it all down to a fractured tibia and assorted bruises. Headed me 10 days in the hospital, tangled up with enough pulleys, weights, and trapeze bars to rig a circus tent. After which, I managed to get sprung to the peace and quiet of my own apartment. There, on a special bed in my living room, I spent 4 days scratching my broken leg through an inch of plastic cast, while I worried about the business I was missing. Until finally, Maynard Patterson, a girl with a multi-million-dollar estate I'd worked for once, insisted on seeing me immediately about a job, one she was sure I could handle, even flat on my back.
Phil, it's about my brother, Maynard.
Oh, another jam, huh?
Yes.
Oh, wait a minute, I gotta get comfortable. I guess your father knew his son pretty well when he left. Yeah, he left all that dough in your hands, Ordine.
Yes, only this time, I sincerely believe Maynard's learned his lesson, Phil. He's worried sick. And frankly, so am I.
So am I, if I can straighten this leg out. Well, if you think I can help in this condition, it can't be too serious.
Why?
Hey, before you sit down, reach me a cigarette, will you?
Yeah, sure. Sure, Phil. Here it is.
Oh, thanks.
Phil, last Saturday night, Maynard went out on a binge. He got home at 4 o'clock in the morning, awfully intoxicated.
Well, it's not unusual for Maynard, is it?
No, except this time he was frightened, Phil. Scared stiff.
Oh, what about?
Well, that's just the point. We don't know. He was so drunk he couldn't remember anything. Didn't know where he'd been or with whom. Oh, Phil, it was terrible.
Well, if this was last Saturday, why are you so worried? Anything had happened, surely by now you'd have heard.
Yes, but something did happen, Phil.
Oh?
This morning I got a phone call from a man who meant business, believe me. I made notes on a memo pad while he talked so I wouldn't forget any of it. Here, bag, here, read it.
No. This is fish. Fish?
Yes, fish.
Tell Maynard 50 G's. Important. Money by tomorrow or trouble.
Then he hung up on me, Phil.
Fish. Did you and Maynard ever hear of him before?
Well, I certainly didn't, and when I asked Maynard, he didn't know him either. He had a cold, heavy voice, and spoke with a thick lisp.
You want me to peg this fish for you?
Yes, so I'll know why Maynard owes that much money.
Well, now look, baby, I'm bedridden. I'm stuck. I can't even move.
I know that, Phil, but you have the phone here, a lot of contacts, and plenty of diplomacy. If this is something I can get Maynard out of by paying that money, then I'll pay.
Okay, baby, I'll try. But look, if it's outside the law,
You'll turn Maynard in. Yes, I'm aware of that.
All right, where do I start? Where did he start Saturday?
At the Colony Club with a female named Fay Altman. Well, whatever happened must have begun there. That's why I thought of you, Phil. You know the Colony Club.
Well, I know their Scotch is Johnny Walker, and Sid Rayfield's the owner, that's all.
Well, that may be enough. Will you want to talk to Maynard?
Yeah. Send him over in about an hour, will you?
Yes, he'll be here. And that Altman girl's number is Sunset 0144.
0144.
Yes.
Okay, Odine, I'll get him. At least my dial finger isn't... No, just a minute. Hello?
It's Fish, Marlowe.
What?
Fish. I know my pigeon's with you now. I followed her. Don't clip her wings, pal. Back out now while you still can. I'm warning you.
Phil, who was that? You look upset.
Yeah, well, my, my horse just ran fourth. Look, you better run along now, Odine.
Well, okay, Phil.
And stay out of dark corners, huh? In spite of my sitting duck position, I told myself that a private detective who listens to warnings today is out of business tomorrow. So I put in a call for Sid Rayfield at the Colony Club. Sid was out, so I left a message for him to get in touch with me. Next, I tried Fay Altman, but the Sunset number went unanswered. After that, I started checking for the next best thing to legs I could think of. A guy named Hunger Malloy. By profession, a roving bookie. By appearance, a slouch and threadbare hound's tooth propped against any convenient lamppost. Hunger, by some peculiar instinct, either knew or could find out about anything, especially slightly illegal. And because I'd once pried him out of a tight spot, he loved me like a brother. I finally located him in a pool hall on Melrose and told him what I needed to know. He promised it was as good as done and was off to the Colony Club and I would hear from him. Well, that left me with nothing to do but scratch my cast again, worry about my gun being in the desk drawer in my office, think about Fish, and wait. Things went like that for 45 minutes and then... Come in. Who is it? Who's there?
Why, it's me. Hunger.
Oh.
What's the matter, Philip? You're jumpy.
Yeah, I'm real glad to see you, fella.
Likewise. How you feeling under the weather, huh?
Yeah.
How's it been?
No, it's bothering me a little.
Look, I brought you some flowers.
Oh, Hunger, you shouldn't have.
I know. I tried to get long stems, but them plants in the park ain't doing so good this year. Hey, listen, are you sure you gave me the right dope on the phone, Philip?
Sure, I'm sure. Why? What'd you find out?
Ah, that's just it. Nothing. I went to the Colony Club and got talking around, but not one thing worth noticing went on there Saturday night.
Well, maybe it started there and moved out, huh?
Yeah, I tried that. Some of the customers went out to the valley after to shoot a little dice. Another bunch moved down to that big joint on Adams for some poker. That's all.
Gambling, huh? Could be a gambling setup. Were they big games?
No, just the usual. Nothing extra at all.
Oh.
And especially, I couldn't pin down a thing on any 50 G's changing hands.
Are you positive, Hunger?
Well, you don't ask too many questions in that league, Philip, but I'm pretty sure nobody got rich or I'd have heard, you know?
Oh.
I got a hint, at least.
Yeah, well, look, what about this guy named Fish?
Blank. Some new faces in town, but no high rollers answering to Fish.
And a background on Fay Altman?
Yeah, some. Pick and shovel queen, in a nice way.
Uh-huh.
Been digging nuggets here and there for a year or so. The latest is the gill-edged punk you want to know about, Maynard Patterson.
Uh-huh.
Say, can I have one of these?
Yeah, go ahead, feed your face.
Incidentally, they was among those present at the colony Saturday night, if that means something to you. And that's about it, Philip.
Okay, Hunger, thanks a million.
I'm sorry I couldn't be more help, but I think you're getting a bum pitch.
Oh, well,
You know, in fact, visitors. Hey, I got a back way out of here. It won't look so good.
Sure. Bedroom, Hunger. You can go out the window and down the fire escape. Hey, wait a minute. Is that a new shirt?
No, I come into a bit of clink, so I had it washed.
Ah.
I hope you're feeling better, Philip. I'll see
Yeah,
you.
thanks. Oh, come in.
Ordine, my sister, said you wanted to see me, Mr. Marlowe. Sorry about your leg.
I'm sorry about it, too. I can't get comfortable. Hey, I hear you really tied one on the other night, huh, kid?
Yeah, but I'm through, Mr. Marlowe, I swear it.
Yeah, sure. Sit down.
Oh, thanks.
What about the gambling? Lose your head over that, too?
Yeah, I guess I do. As far as my allowance goes, anyway.
Now, look, I want you to tell me all you remember about Saturday night.
Well, I went to the Colony Club with Fay. That's my girl, Fay Altman.
By the way, how do you rate stuff like Fay on your allowance?
Huh? Just a
Skip
minute.
Skip it. Go ahead.
Well, I was drinking quite a bit, and by 1 o'clock, I guess I was pretty fuzzy. I lost Fay someplace. Then I went outside for some air, and from there on, it's just a blank.
Well, now, look, if you didn't pass out cold, you're bound to have some flashes you can remember. I want it all.
Well, I do remember a couple of things, Mr. Marlowe.
Oh?
They're more like a dream than anything else. I seem to remember a big, old-fashioned house. It was dark and gloomy with high ceilings and old ornate brass chandeliers. I don't know how I got there or what I was doing.
Were you alone?
Well, I don't think so. I've got a man's face in my mind, a flabby guy in a silk shirt. He had big hands, freckles on the backs of him, with kind of a reddish hair on him. I remember them against something green.
Did he lisp?
I can't seem to remember. Just thinking about him gives me the willies, but I don't know why. I can't figure out why. I talked to Faye. She waited for me until the colony closed, and then she went home. She was pretty mad about it.
You sure that's all you can remember?
Yep. Yeah, that's everything. How does it make any sense at all?
Not much. Sounds like you could have been mixed up in a poker game at a green top table in an old dump on Adams. Lost your shirt to a fat guy named Fish.
You think that's all there is to it, huh?
Well, not quite all. There's the little matter of $50,000 you owe him.
50,000? Look, Mr. Marlowe, if you and Ordine get me out of this mess, I swear I'll straighten up. I'll never get into trouble again, honest.
Sonny boy, what you do later is your sister's headache, strictly. I got trouble enough lining things up so you can get off the hook. Now go on home and stay there till I call you.
Okay. Mr. Marlowe, I know you don't like me, but... Well, thanks anyhow.
$50,000. Oh. Yeah, sunset 0144. They have to put casts on so tight.
Hello?
Faye, my name is Phil Marlowe. I've been trying to reach you for 2 hours.
Well, maybe you need longer arms, Mr. Marlowe.
No, just some conversation about Maynard Patterson. I'm in my apartment number 210, Grenade Arms on Franklin. Can you come over?
Why would I want to talk about Maynard to you in the first place, and why don't you come over here in the second?
Well, in the first place, I'm a private detective. In the second, I got a busted leg. How about it? It's important.
Well, I've never dated a private detective with a broken leg before. It sounds entrancing. I'm around the corner on Bronson. I'll be right there.
Good, Goodbye, Faye. Come on in. Well. Sid Rayfield in person yet?
Yeah. The boys at the club told me about your urgent call, peepers, so I came right out.
Well, if I'd known you were coming, I'd have baked the snake, Sid.
Skip the cracks. I know what you want.
Well, then you're clairvoyant. Because I'm not sure myself yet.
Try this. You're working for Ordine Patterson like you did once before because that punk brother of hers is in a bad jam with one Mr. Fish. Well?
Yeah, it's quite neat. You happen to know the guy?
Yeah, Marlowe, I happen to know the guy. That's why I'm here. To tip you because you're a friend of mine, more or less. So I say leave it alone, Marlowe. Get out of it. Stay out. It's none of your business.
You know, you talk like a man with a personal angle.
What? Why, I ought to split your lip for that. I come here to do you a turn.
Take it easy. Mind your bedside manners, Sid. I'm an invalid.
You'll be worse than that if you don't back out of this. I'm telling you, this guy Fish is too hot to handle, Marlowe, and you better... Who's that?
How should I know? For a sick room, this joint's becoming more like Hollywood and Vine by the minute.
I took a long chance coming here. I got to get out without being seen.
Well, try the bedroom window and fire escape. Everybody else does.
Don't let him in till I'm gone. You hear? It ain't healthy.
Marlowe!
Sid! Sid, what is it?
Marlowe, I'm hit!
Sid!
A lousy silencer. Oh.
Oh, this stinking leg. Nice going, Mr. Fish. I suppose that makes me...
Mr. Marlowe, it's Mitzi from the restaurant. Are you all right, Mr. Marlowe?
Yeah, Mitzi, I'm okay, I'm fine.
Well, I thought you was talking to somebody.
No, I was reading. I didn't hear the buzzer.
Oh, yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes I get real carried away myself.
That's fine.
Look, I fixed up your dinner. Everything just like you ordered. Here, I'll drag the...
No, Mitzi, I don't think I'll eat right now. Just put the tray down and beat it, huh? Like a good girl?
Yeah, but what about the dishes?
Get them in the morning. Will you get out of here? Will you go on?
Oh, gee whiz, okay. Good night, Mr. Marlowe.
Okay, Fish, the girl's gone. Well, come on in. Did you hear me? I said come on in. I guess I'm as ready as I'll ever be.
In just a moment, the second act of Philip Marlowe, but first...
May 30th, 1950, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, more of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, May 30th, 1950.
Now with our star, Gerald Mohr, the second act of Philip Marlowe, and tonight's story, The Bedside Manners.
man is never ready to die, really. Sometimes saying you are helps. Sometimes, like when you're flat on your back waiting for a killer with a silencer, might step into view through your bedroom door. I kept on waiting for 60 seconds, each as long as a fall down an empty well. Once I thought I heard the window close. At least another 5 minutes went by. Then I actually began to believe that for some reason Fish had gone away. Well, that made the scoreboard real easy to read. Sid Rayfield, a guy who knew his way around, had been killed. I hadn't been able to do a thing about it. It was time for a call to homicide. But even as I reached for the phone, it went off. Hello. I said hello.
This is your last warning, Marlowe.
Oh, you got to a phone fast, Buster. What's on your slippery mind, Fish?
Something you'd be smart to pay attention to. You see, Marlowe, you're only still alive because it's convenient to me.
Too bad you didn't feel that way about Sid Rayfield.
Rayfield got what he deserved. And so will you. Like I said, you're only still alive because it's convenient to me. You happen to be working for the lady who holds the purse strings.
Go on.
Therefore, there's very little more, Marlowe, except this. Maynard Patterson's a lousy poker player. On Saturday night, he dropped 50,000 to me. 50,000 in two markers, Marlowe. One for 2,000, the other for 48. I want both paid promptly, you understand?
Not quite. Maynard Patterson doesn't remember what happened Saturday night. So maybe you know all about it and you're making this up as you go along.
No, Marlowe, that's not the case. And if you drag yourself to the windowsill in your bedroom, you'll find all the proof you need.
What do you mean?
That I left one of the markers there, in a white envelope. The one for 2,000. And it's in the poor little rich boy's own handwriting. I left it there so you'd know I'm not kidding about the 48 grand. I'll be in touch. So long, Marlowe.
All the lousy double Come in.
Sure. Why not? How could a girl ever resist the welcome in your voice? I'm Fay Altman, private detective.
That figures.
What happened to you? Fall out of a transom or trip over a clue? Which?
Neither. It was a wisecrack, honey. I laughed so hard I fell down and broke my leg.
Let's get down to business, huh?
Yeah. For a starter, Fay, what's your connection with Maynard Patterson? How tight is the knot?
Huh? What was that again?
I said you and Maynard. Just how chummy are you two?
I thought I heard you right. You know, private detective, I don't like being pushed around.
Fay, there's a dead man in the bedroom.
Dead man? Did you say a dead man?
Sid Rayfield. He was murdered, Fay.
Oh, no. Oh, not Sid. Gee, he was a nice guy, Marlowe. Sharp, but nice.
Fay, I want you to go in there and look for an envelope on the windowsill.
An envelope? No, I don't think I want
It's important, Fay. I can't get out of this bed. Now, go on. It may help us tag Sid's killer.
But... All right. I'll get it. You say it's near the window... Oh!
Keep going, Kay. At the windowsill. Do you see it?
Yeah, I've got it. Here.
Yeah.
Hey, the window's broken in there. Do you know it?
Yeah. Now, Fay, my question about you and Maynard, somehow or other it may count. Are you in love with him?
No. I mean, I like him all right. He's a good time. Nice places, nice people, nice little presents.
But no yachts.
No, that's right. No yachts. And I like yachts, private detective. They beat rowing around in MacArthur Park, I know. I've tried them both. Anything else?
Yeah, turn it around. How does he feel about you?
Overboard, I guess. Look, you said that this might help catch Sid's killer. I like Sid, so I'd like to see that happen. But make this question a good one, because it's your last.
Fair enough. Maynard loves you, you love money. Maynard didn't have any. Now the question. Did he have any plan to change all that?
Just one. He was saving up every cent he could squeeze out of that stingy sister of his for a stake in a big card game. He was going to run it into big dough. Any help, private detective?
Yeah, if you call checking other people's stories out a help.
Which translates into what?
Maynard did just that. Only he lost it all Saturday night. Lost his stake and $50,000 more.
What? He owes that much dough?
Yeah. Now tell me, have you heard from Maynard since?
You had your last question, private detective, remember? Good night, Marlowe. It's been a big, fat pleasure.
I'll bet. Anyhow, Fay, my best to the fish.
Your very best to the fish?
Yeah.
I don't get it. What fish?
Never mind. Goodbye, baby, and don't slam the door. When the lady was gone, it was time to call the police. But I was dying hard, and even as I dialed the number, I turned the envelope that had been left on the windowsill over in one hand. The envelope was the cheap kind you'd find in any dime store with nothing written on it. And the note itself, which read, "I owe the bearer $2,000 payable within 24 hours," was signed Maynard Patterson and dated Saturday. It was on a square piece of memo paper, and it made me think about a little item which for quite a while had been sitting last row, last seat in the back of my mind. But trying real hard to be a star pupil. Now, Marlowe, the fishing may be great. Oh, this leg. Come on, baby, be home.
Hello?
Mrs. Marlowe, Dean.
From May 30th, 1950, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. We'll have the conclusion following these important messages from your favorite radio station. Thank you so much for tuning in. Just going to take a minute here to tell you about the big savings going on now, the clearance sale at mypillow.com. And you know, I've talked about how in my office I have a pair of my slippers, and they're really comfortable, and they're on clearance right now. The mypillow.com slippers, $25 a pair, limit 10. And I would buy 3 or 4 more pairs. Unfortunately, they're out of my size. They also have sheets, pillowcases, clothing items, all on special right now. Go to mypillow.com, click on the clearance tab at the top of the page, use my promo code Wyatt, or call 1-800-928-4715. Limited sizes remaining in the MyPillow slippers, limited colors on other items. mypillow.com, clearance tab, promo code Wyatt, 1-800-928-4715. Thank you for tuning in to Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite radio station. Now the conclusion of The Adventures of Philip Marlowe as it was originally broadcast May 30th, 1950.
Mrs. Marlowe, Dean.
Oh, Phil, what have you found out?
I'm not sure, but among other things, they may have caught a killer. Now listen, do you still have that note? You know the one you brought over here, the memo you made after Fish called? Have you got it?
Why, yes, it's in my handbag. But
Never mind the question, just get it, will you?
All right, I'll only be a moment.
I'll hang on.
You better just hang up, Marlowe.
I wasn't expecting you just yet, Maynard.
Now, nor this gun, I'm sure. Hang up.
It'll only make a call back, you know.
Yeah. And won't my dear sister be exasperated when she keeps getting a busy signal? No matter how long she dials, only a busy signal.
The pronunciation is thignal, Maynard.
Huh?
Or do I call you Fish? And don't look so surprised, your act stank. People who can't pronounce the letter S avoid it instead of going out of their way to use it as in Perthring.
My mistake, Marlowe.
Yeah, among a lot of others. You never should have been careless about the kind of paper you wrote the IOU on. Your sister, who you're trying to swindle, came in here earlier with the same jottings on a piece of paper that's got the same top edge. Irregular. Because
yeah,
no doubt...
I know. Because it was ripped off the same telephone pad. And I wouldn't have used that paper since IOUs are customarily written during or immediately after a card game. And I couldn't have been at home at the time of the game. All right, stop it, Marlowe. There's no need for any more hypotheses.
No, you can fill in all the blanks, can't you? Step by step, a rotten, tailor-made scheme to get your sister to save you by paying $50,000 to a gambler named Fish who doesn't exist.
I said stop it.
Slimy setup that began with a fake one-night stand of bottle and bond amnesia. Moved on to an also-fake telephone call to Ordine from a heavy named Fish. A man with a lisp.
Shut up, Marlowe.
And the payoff, the confession call to me also. Oh!
Yes, Mr. Marlowe, everything you say is so. But I'm still not beaten, and I won't be. You're the only one who knows all this. And even as Fish killed Sid Rayfield, Fish is going to kill you. Fish, Marlowe, not me. Fish, the ruthless gambler who never will be caught, but whom my sister will pay, nevertheless. Is that clear, Marlowe?
Not quite. Why did you kill Rayfield? He had me convinced that Fish actually existed.
Which is the reason he died. He was playing my game, Marlowe, but not for me. Somehow or other, he found out what I was doing. Maybe because he always checked carefully when anybody got too interested in Fay Altman. And he decided to help things along, then cut himself in. Well, you know the answer to that. Now, if you don't mind, turn on the radio, Marlowe.
Why? Silencer doesn't make
Turn it on. Louder. I wouldn't want anything to go wrong now, Marlowe. I've been so lucky. Lucky that I got away from my sister and was free to watch this building, this apartment. Lucky so that I could see who came and who went and act accordingly. Yeah, I've been lucky, all right. You do grant me that, don't you, Marlowe?
Yeah, sure. You've been lucky. Yeah, you've been real lucky, Patterson, up to now. But you know how it is with luck, kid? 1 minute you have it, the next minute it runs out. Look, do you mind if I turn this off? It's putting me to sleep.
You are brave, aren't you, Marlowe?
No, just lucky. Lucky that someone's standing behind you.
Who? The mounted police?
No, just a guy named Hunger Malloy. It's a funny kind of a guy, Maynard. He was here earlier tonight, and he ducked out by way of the bedroom. At least, I thought he ducked out.
Oh, quit it, Marlowe.
Huh?
Now, don't budge an inch. I'm not going to turn around and give you the chance to go for that gun, which is probably under your pillow. Oh, no.
Oh, but Maynard, you should do something. You're about to be hitting a noggin. Honest, Maynard, with a vase.
That, Marlowe, I'll believe when it happens.
He just wouldn't take your word, would he, Philip? Well, that's the way it goes. I'll see you.
Now, wait a minute, Hunger. Come back here.
I can't, pal. You got a corpse in there. That means cops. Them and me don't mix.
Don't worry about it. Just tell me before I bust. You started for the window 20 minutes ago. What happened?
Well, Philip,
What happened, Hunger?
I got delayed. After that, stuff was popping. This louse was in there, then the corpse delecti, and then the louse again at the window, leaving an envelope, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, but the delay, Hunger. Before company started coming, what was it? Well?
The truth, Philip?
Yeah, try it. May not hurt at all.
Okay. They was on your dresser. The jazziest pair of pearl cufflinks, Philip, I seen since I used to deal in Vegas. I was attracted.
Hunger, as a last favor to a guy you've already done a big favor for, take him. The cufflinks. Go ahead, kid.
All right, Philip. As long as you put it so nice, I will. Now, like I was saying, good night, Philip.
Hey, wait a minute, Hunger. The cufflinks. Take them with you now.
Of course. That's exactly what I'm doing, Philip. See you around.
Funny little guy. Funny name. Hunger Malloy. You know, it's a strange thing, but a broken leg makes the old wheels go round. Well, that figures. Makes you think about brakes. And that brings me back to Hunger Malloy again. The only break he ever got was in his skull. Somebody once said we make our own brakes. I don't know about that. I didn't break my leg. Or maybe I did. Did I really look where I was going? And Maynard Patterson. Look at all the brakes he had. Loads of dough. Still, he didn't know where he was going either. And Sid Rayfield. I wonder if when the slug hit him, he thought, what a lousy break.
The Adventures of Philip Marlowe, bringing you Raymond Chandler's most famous character, star Gerald Mohr, are produced and directed by Norman MacDonald and are written for radio by Robert Mitchell and Gene Levitt. Featured in our cast were Ann Stone, David Ellis, Vivi Janis, Wilms Herbert, Paul Dubov, and Frank Gerstle. The special music is composed and conducted by Richard Orant.
May 30th, 1950, The Adventures of Philip Marlowe on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Now on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox, we go to Ted at RadioMemories.com, thanking him for this episode of Lum and Abner, as they convert the cotton warehouse into a theater. This episode originally broadcast May 30th, 1935.
Howdy, everybody. Here we are, all ready to take you down to Pine Ridge for another visit with Lum and Abner. And now, let's see what's happening down in Pine Ridge. Well, Lum returned from a trip to Kansas City a few days ago with the idea that he and Abner would open a picture show in Pine Ridge. Yesterday, they made arrangements with Dick Huddleston to rent a building which has been used as a cotton warehouse for their new business. Today, they have a crew of men busy remodeling the building. As we look in on Pine Ridge today, Abner has just returned from the warehouse. We find him down at the Jot 'em Down store discussing their plans with Grandpappy Spears. Listen.
Oh, I just can't wait to get started. Just think, get to sit there and look at the picture show every night for nothing.
Oh, everybody in town just tickled to death over it. Lots of folks here in Pine Ridge that ain't never saw a picture show.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's some around here that's awful backwoodsy yet. I seen a picture show 2 years ago. It ain't gonna be nothing new to me.
No, but I believe you'll do well with it, Abner. You and Lum ought to make a lot of money out of it.
Oh, Lum says we're going to make millionaires out of ourselves with it.
Well, I hope you do. Hope you do.
Did Lum say where he's going, Grandpap, when he left?
Why, yeah, he said something about going over to see Moe's Mooch. Something about renting some folding chairs from the lodge hall. You know, Moe's is one of the high-up ospers in the lodge.
Yeah. I dogged I'd forgot about us having to have seats for over there.
Oh, yeah, you have to have seats.
Well, I hope he can rent 'em. I'd hate for us to have to buy brand new ones.
Yeah, that'll save you some money right there.
Yeah, well, I saved us some a while ago. That's what I want to see Lum about. I bound you he'll be tickled to death whenever he finds out what I did.
Save some money, did you?
Yeah, I don't know why in the world we never thought of it before now. It'll just cut out a lot of extra carpenter's work. What it'll do.
Yeah, you want to watch them things, for it's going to be right smart of a job remodeling that old cotton warehouse, ain't it?
Yeah, now, the way I've got it figured out, it ain't no Grandpap. All he's going to have to do is just build a little room upstairs in the back for the picture machine and then board up the windows so that the light can't get in. Of course, Lum's got some big ideas about fixing the place up fancy, but I think I can talk him out of it.
Well, yonder comes Lum now.
Yeah, well, I'll just get him to go over there with me so that I can show him what I thought of.
Well, he's the busiest somebody I ever seen in my life. He's been on the go all day long today.
Yeah, well, the only trouble with Lum about he's got to watch him. He's so extravagant.
Extravagant?
Yeah, he never stops to think what anything's going to cost. You ought to hear some of the ideas that he's got studied up for that show.
Better mind out what you're saying.
Hey, Lum, after you left over there a while ago, I studied up an idea that'll save us $100.
Save us $100?
Yes, sir. Ezra said it'd cost us $100 to put a new floor in there.
Yeah, but we've got to have a new floor.
No, I figured out a way around that, Lum. That floor we got in there's all right.
Yeah, it's all right, but it ain't slanting. A picture show's got to have a slanting floor so folks can see over one another's heads.
Well, this'll be slanting when they get done doing what I told them to. See, instead of building a new floor, well, I've got 'em over there raising up one end of the building.
Raising up one end of the building?
Yeah, we're just hiking up the front end of it there to where it'll be about 6 foot higher than it is in the back. That'll make it slanting, and we won't have to build no new floor.
Oh, for goodness sakes, Abner, that ain't gonna work.
What's the reason it ain't?
Why, the building won't look right. The windows and doors will all be slanting, too. How's folks going to get up there to the front door and hit it sticking up about 10 foot in the air?
Well, I hadn't thought about that part of it.
That's just the trouble. You don't think about nothing.
We could build a stairway up there to it. Could do that.
Well, that little room we was aiming on using for the box office, it'll be slanting, too.
Yeah, everything'll be slanting.
Well, that ain't going to do. Front door be pinting right up in the sky that way, and every time it rained, it'd flood the building. Just rain right in the front door.
Yeah.
Grandpap, I wish you'd go over and tell Ezra to hold off on that raising the building. Tell him to go ahead and put that floor in there like I told him to.
Yeah, all right, Lum, I'll tell him. I still think that idea of mine's a good one.
Well, Abner, it just won't work now, so just forget about it. And don't be going around over there telling Ezra to do one thing after I've told him to do something else.
Well, I was just trying to save us some money was all.
That's all right. I just want to get started over there as quick as we can. You're just making matters worse.
Hey, did you rent the chairs from a lodge hall?
Yeah, I had to give a little more for 'em than I wanted to, but I told Mose we'd rent 'em for a month anyway.
Yeah, why couldn't we just put some benches in there, Lum?
Benches?
Yeah, set some candy buckets in there upside downwards and then just lay some boards across them.
Candy buckets with boards across them? We've got to fix the place up nice, make 'em feel comfort in there. We're going to have folding chairs in there or nothing.
Well, all right. I just hope we don't spend all our money before we get started, though.
Well, Abner, it's like I've always told you, you've got to spend money to make it.
Spend it to make it?
Now, I've explained all that to you before. I'm not going into it again. You know what I mean. It's going to cost us right smart of money just starting out this way, but there's just certain things that we've got to have. Got to have some music, for one thing.
Music?
Yeah, somebody to play the piano. You know, like we do in there at Meany.
You mean that we've got to buy a piano, too?
If we can't rent one summers, I reckon we'll have to.
Well, what's there use to have music in there, Lum? They ain't gonna dance or nothing.
No, but you've got to have music along with the picture.
Do?
Why, sure. If it's a sad picture, we'll have 'em play some sad music, and if the hero's about to catch the villain, why, we want to play some real fast and exciting music.
Well, there's some more expense. Got to get somebody to play the piano.
Well, you don't expect it to play itself, do you?
Well, no, but... Huh? Wait a minute here. Why couldn't we get a player piano like it in the Grandpappy Spirit of God?
Granny, that's right. I hadn't thought about that.
Mike could just rent that off of him, Lum. I don't think him and Charity ever plays a thing unless they got company.
Well, sir, that might be just what we're looking for.
Sure.
We'd have to get some new rolls of music for it, though. He ain't got but 3 rolls that I ever heard him play. Casey Jones and Steamboat Bill and some other, and I don't recollect.
Yeah, Star Spangled Banner, that's what it is.
Yeah.
For I know he's always trying to stand up and pump them pedals at the same time while he plays it, I saw him.
Yeah, we don't want that down there in the picture show. Well, as he likes that tune, he'd have the folks standing up about half the time.
Yeah, wouldn't need no seats that way. Or wouldn't need but half as many. Or, no.
Well, when Grandpap gets back, I'll speak to him about that, see if we can't rent that piney from him. That's a good idea you had there, Abner.
Well, I'm glad I had one that was all right. I was just about to lose confidence in myself.
Well, let's see now. That gets some music and the chairs, and Ezra's already working remodeling the building. Next thing we got to locate is a moving picture machine.
A what?
A machine to show the moving pictures with.
Oh, yeah, that just reminds me, too, Lum. I've got something here, if I can find it. There's something I cut out of a magazine down at the barber shop. Yeah, here it is. Now, look at that. Now, might be just what we're looking for.
What is it? A home movie projector.
Oh, I thought it was a moving picture machine. Mose Moot said it was.
Well, it is, but it says, have your own moving pictures at home with this handy little projector, complete with 2 rolls of films, $2.79.
Yeah, them things don't cost as much as I allowed they would, Lum.
It's just the trouble, they don't cost enough.
Don't cost enough?
Oh, this thing wouldn't throw a picture over 20 or 30 feet. We're going to have the machine sitting upstairs there clean at the back of the building.
At the back?
Why, sure.
Well, Ezra's sure mixed up then, Lum, for he's building that room in front.
In front?
Yes, sir, right up there over the box office.
Well, yeah, that's right. That's the back of the house. You see, when you get inside of a show that way, you go in the front, but when you get in there, you're in the back of the house.
Huh?
When you get inside of a show that way, the front starts being the back, and the back starts being the front.
You mean you're going to turn the building around?
No, but things just changes.
Well, I'll be dead blame. I never had noticed that.
Well, now, when you come in the front door of a picture show and sit down quick as you get inside, you ought to say you're sitting in the back of the house. But you just come in the front. If you want to sit down there in front, you've got to go clean to the back.
Well, I've been turned around them things and never even noticed any. I always sit on the front row if I can find a seat that ain't took. But I've been sitting in the back unbeknownst to myself, ain't I?
Well, just quit studying about it, Abner. You're getting yourself mixed up, and me too. Regardless of which is the front and which is the back, the screen's going to be at one end of the building, and Ezra's building a booth for the picture machine at the other, so this little machine here wouldn't work on account it wouldn't throw a picture that far.
Well, why don't he just build a booth about 6 feet from a screen? Then this machine will work all right.
No, I've got a better idea than that. I'm going to call up that feller that runs the Lyric Theater in there at the county seat and ask him where I can buy one.
And I bound you he can't tell you where you can buy one any cheaper than this in here, Lum. I know.
I hope I can find him around there this time of the day. Central, ring me the Lyric Theater, please, Mom. All right. I ain't got the least idea what his name is.
I thought his name was Mr. Lyric.
No, that's just the name of the show.
Oh.
Our name ain't Mr. Jot 'em Down. Wait a minute. Hello? Mr. Lyric? Oh, dad blame it, Abner. Who am I talking to? I mean, are you the feller that runs the picture show?
Don't even know who he's talking to.
Well, this is Lum Edwards out at Pine Ridge. Lum Edwards.
Spend money, that's all he thinks about.
Yes, sir. Why, me and my partner, Mr. Peabody, is putting in a moving picture show out here, and I just wondered if you could tell me where we could buy a moving picture machine at.
Him and his fancy ideas.
Well, just as cheap one as I can find. How's that?
Build 2 shows.
You have? Well, that may be just what we're looking for.
I still think we'd slant the
Oh,
building.
we don't mind it being second-handed if it's in good shape. How much would you want for it? Well, I granted me and Mr. Peabody will be in there tonight to look at it then.
There you go.
Yeah, don't sell it till we get there. All right, fine. Much obliged. Goodbye. Hi, Granny's Abner. He's got a machine in there that he'll take $75, I believe he said. Said he used to use it there himself.
Well, at this rate, the old fellow should soon be open for business. This is Carlton Brickert speaking for Lum and Abner and Horlicks, who now bid you all good night and good health.
May 30th, 1935, Lum and Abner on Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox. Thanks to Ted, who provides us these shows. He has shows available on cassette, CD, or flash drive for your computer. Check it out at radiomemories.com, radiomemories.com. Our webpage is classicradio.stream, where you can stream our shows, learn about building a classic radio collection of your own. You can find our social media links there. You can also buy me a copy. That Buy Me a Copy money helps us acquire additional classic radio collections and helps us maintain our social media links. That's at classicradio.stream, at our distribution channel. It doesn't help us maintain social media. I do that on my own. I work cheap, you know. Thanks so much for tuning in. Tell all your friends the greatest radio shows are right here at this spot on the dial. Classic Radio Theater with Wyatt Cox on your favorite station.